Hello, it's Lady Lou, the baby boomer babe, coming to you from deep in the heart of Texas. Oh, have we had some rains in this state? Places are flooding that probably haven't flooded in 20 years. But that's Texas. So I want to introduce you to someone I have known for many years and have adored her and what her work is. She does so much good for the senior community in the Houston area. I want you to meet my friend Kathryn Watson. Say hello, Kathryn.
Hello, and thank you, Louise, for having me on your show. I'm excited to be here. We've had a little bit of technical difficulties getting together, so bear with us and hope that this works today.
Yes, we're praying. Well, Kathryn, give us a little rundown, a little bio on what you do and how you help seniors.
Okay, all right. So, Louise, I started a web directory for the greater Houston area about 5 years ago. And I did that because I had gone through caring for my mom, and then at that time I was also caring for my mother-in-law, both of which had dementia and lots of other health issues. And it was really a challenge to go online and try to find what I needed to find. And number one, I didn't know what questions to ask. I didn't know anything about this industry. You know, like many people who are out there searching, you don't know until you don't know. And then you're usually in a crisis, which is where my family ended up. So through my trials and tribulations, I thought there's got to be a better way. So I launched in 2000, I think it was 2014, I launched Find Houston Senior Care, and that's Find, F-I-N-D, HoustonSeniorCare.com. And it's a web directory, but it's so much more. It has over 500 articles about anything you might want to know about senior care, senior living, what's the difference between home health care and home care. A lot of people don't know the difference. One is paid for by Medicare, one is not. But you may need both. What is hospice and what does that mean and how does that look? And is that, something you want to explore further? Elder law attorneys. I mean, just so much information that people need it.
How will they find this directory, Kathryn?
Just go online to FindHoustonSeniorCare.com. Again, that's Find, F-I-N-D, HoustonSeniorCare.com. And you'll be able to search. So you'll be able to search for companies if you're looking for, say, a home care company to come in and help somebody, or if you're looking for hospice or an elder law attorney or assisted living, memory care, whatever it is you're searching for, you can find it there. Or you can read the articles. Or now I also have started a live Facebook show.
Yes.
And it's on the website as well. It's called Life After 50, What You Need to Know. Because again, there were a lot of things that were starting to come up in my own life that I was like, I don't know anything about that. And where do I get the information? And so here I am offering that as a resource as well. And it's exciting and it's fun.
Yes.
And yeah.
Well, I will put all of this information in the description down below the YouTube video and in the podcast. So you don't have to worry about scrambling to find a pen and paper. It will be there when the video is posted so that you can get all this information and how to reach Kathryn and all that good stuff.
Great.
So, Kathryn, I know you have even written some books. Tell us about your book.
I have. I've written two books. Well, I've written 3 books, but one of them was a long, long time ago. I've written 2 books recently in the elder care industry. One is called Help, My Parents Are Aging, because I was in that situation. What do you do now? What are the questions I need to ask? What do I do if mom is suddenly in rehab and the social workers are telling us stuff and the doctors are telling us stuff and we don't know who to listen to or what to do? What's our next step? So it answers a lot of those kinds of questions. How do you know if it's time to move somebody? If you have to move somebody, what should you do? And the second book is called Help, I Can't Do This Alone. And that was written basically for the spouse. It has a lot of the same basic information as the first book, but it's written with the spouse in mind. So I met a lot of couples that maybe the wife or the husband had a lot of health problems. Maybe they even had dementia, some type of dementia, maybe Alzheimer's or another type of dementia. And they didn't know what to do. And, they were struggling, and it's really, really hard. I think it's got to be 10 times harder for a spouse. I haven't gone through that, and I hope I never do. But, Doug and I fight back and forth and say, okay, you got to go first. No, you're going first. I don't want to be left.
I know.
Maybe we can make a pact and go together.
Go together.
Unfortunately, it doesn't usually work that way.
No.
And usually one spouse, or a lot of times one spouse does get ill and the other one struggles with how to best care for them.
Right.
And so this was written to kind of help those couples.
And
So,
sometimes, and most of the time, I think it comes down to a money issue.
money is a lot of it. Money is a lot of it, but education is a lot of it too, because sometimes they just don't know about services out there. Or, for instance, with hospice, they're afraid, if I choose to go on hospice, does that mean I'm giving up on this person?
No.
And it's not that at all. And what a lot of people don't understand, I always bring up my mom. My mom was on hospice for 1.5 years.
Oh.
When she left the hospital, they expected at top she had 3 months. Well, she wasn't ready, and there's only one person that knows when it's time, right? So,
Yes.
you have to realize doctors are human too. And even though they tell you have X number of months, or, you have 3 months or 6 months or whatever, they're not experts. They don't know. And, but if you qualify for hospice, it brings so many benefits. We couldn't have done it without the hospice team, because they send in a whole team of people. We had nurses that would come in and check on mom. We took care of my mom in her home, my sisters and I, and then we hired a caregiver during the week when we all had to work. And then we took turns on the weekends. And the hospice team filled in. They came in, they brought a caregiver in there to bathe her and do things like that. So it gave our paid caregiver a little bit of a break too. And that's important, because anybody caring for somebody, it takes a village. You cannot do it all by yourself. I don't care how wonderful you are, how strong you are. You can't do it by yourself. And, we're human beings. We're social. We're supposed to ask for help. And for some reason, that's really hard for people to do, and we've got to learn to get better with that, Louise. We really do. We've got to learn to get better about asking for help. It's really important.
It's one of those, our stock is that we're very self-sufficient and very independent. So we feel like it's a weakness to ask for help.
And that's silly, because it's a strength.
It
Somebody
is.
that can actually stand up and say, I need help.
Right.
To me, they're a very strong person to be able to do that.
Yes.
It's not easy to always ask.
Right.
And,
but it's a very tiring job to take care of someone 24/7.
It is.
I've
It's
been there.
emotionally draining. It's physically draining. It's all of it. It just is really, really hard. And if you really want to be a good caregiver, then you have to take breaks. You got to take breaks. You've got to get help in there. And that's why, I'm a big advocate of hospice. It's not, you have to qualify. And there's, certain criteria that your loved one has to meet to qualify. But if they do qualify, my goodness, like I said, there's a whole team. You've got the caregivers, you got the nurses, you got social workers coming in, and the social workers help you too,
Yes.
because they can help kind of listen to you and counsel you and just, sometimes we just need somebody that can hear us,
Right.
that understands, and they have seen a lot and they understand, and they're usually a social worker is a very empathetic person, especially the hospice social workers. And they can help families that are oftentimes torn apart. Unfortunately, when somebody gets ill, you think it brings everybody together, but a lot of times it tears everybody apart because everybody has different visions and beliefs and ideas on what's the best thing to do.
And some people are just not caretakers.
And some people just don't want to deal with it.
No.
Some people just don't want to deal with it, and they have to, they have to step back, and you have to understand that everybody in a caregiving role is grieving. They're grieving. Even though the person hasn't died, they're grieving
Yes.
the loss of what was and what could have been.
Oh.
And so as they're grieving that, we have to also understand that everybody grieves differently. One person grieves by doing more, and one person grieves by doing less and pulling back and running away and putting their head in the sand. And, we all do it differently.
I know.
And the hospice team helps with that. So
now, can you have
for hospice?
Yeah. Can you have hospice in your own home?
Yes, absolutely.
That's a biggie.
In fact, that's where most of the hospice is done nowadays, in your own home.
Wow.
Or wherever you're living. If you are living in a nursing home or you are living in an assisted living, hospice can come there. My mother-in-law was in an assisted living, and we brought hospice to her. My mother was in her home, and hospice came to her. They come wherever you are. And
I love that.
That is the beauty. That is the beauty.
Yeah. So I didn't realize that, because when my husband was dying, we put him in the hospital at the end. He did not want to go. He wanted to die at home.
Yes.
I don't know where people get that. I don't want to die at home.
And see, I do. I don't want to be in a hospital. I don't like the sterile environment. I don't like the bright lights and all of that. However, if it's uncomfortable for my family, for me to die at home, then I want to be brought to a place that is comfortable to me and comfortable to them.
Yeah. Well, he just couldn't stay at home anymore because I couldn't take care of him.
Exactly. And that's another thing that a lot of people don't realize are out there is something called residential care homes or personal care homes or small assisted livings, or go by all these different names. That's where my mother-in-law was. The one she was in, we had her in two different ones. The first one had 5 residents. It was very small. And then we decided that was a little bit too small for her. And so we moved her to one that had 16 residents. And that was a little bit better fit for her. But they range from 3 residents to 16. And they're homes, just like your home that you're living in now. They're all over Houston. In every subdivision, you won't know that they're your next door neighbor unless you happen to have a conversation with them and find out that that's what they're doing.
Wow.
But they're quiet neighbors. They don't have wild parties. You might have a few more emergency vehicles show up from time to time, but other than that, they're great neighbors. And it's a great environment because it is a home environment.
Yes.
So my mother-in-law had a bedroom in the home. That was her bedroom. So she could set it up with her things and it felt comfortable to her. But yet, we physically couldn't care for her. She required a lot of care 24/7. And with us both working, there was no way. Plus, I would have had to remodel my house to keep her in the house. My house it was built in the 80s, and it's not designed for somebody who is on a walker and in a wheelchair and, that sort of thing. It's not designed for that. And So you have to look at all of those things. There's so much to consider, and families just don't know. And that's why I started these different things that I'm doing now.
Well, tell us a little more about some of the guests that you have on your live
Oh,
Facebook show.
sure. So I have had all kinds of guests on the show, and I'm really excited. This past week, I had Tony King with, she's with, it's called Tony Says, is her website, tonysays.com. She's a Medicare expert. And I brought her on because a lot of the people watching my page and paying attention to my show, they're either of Medicare age or they have parents that are of Medicare age. So they're over 50 and they're in that space. So we brought her on to talk about that. She gives a lot of great information. Next week, I've got Bob DeMarco, and I'm so excited about bringing him on. He is a dementia or Alzheimer's care advocate. He has cared for his mom for years with Alzheimer's. He has written, oh gosh, I can't even tell you how many articles he's written. He is an expert. He is, go look him up on Facebook, and I'm trying to think of the name of his Facebook page. I think it's called Alzheimer's World. But he has great ideas how to communicate with somebody with Alzheimer's, what to do. We're going to be talking about the holidays that are coming up. Thanksgiving is coming up and other holidays. And we're going to talk about if you have somebody with Alzheimer's or some other type of dementia, what can you expect at the holiday, and what do you need to know, and what should you have in place to make sure it goes smoothly, because this can be a challenge. It can be a real challenge.
Yeah, I think the biggest challenge when my mother had dementia was it hurt me because I would come to take her to the doctor or just do something, and she would ask her caregiver, "Who is that woman?"
Yeah.
Oh, that hurt.
I can remember walking into my mom's bedroom, and she was bedbound the last 2 years, and she was still severe dementia. And she looked at me and she smiled. She was a happy dementia patient most of the time. And that was wonderful. My mother-in-law was a total opposite story, but that's another story. But Mom was happy most of the time. And she looked at me and she smiled and she said, she said, "You look just like my daughter." I said, "Really?" I said, "Well, tell me about her." And I sat there and listened to her tell me all about me from her perspective. And it was just so interesting.
That was a gift.
It was a gift. It was a gift. I wish I had it on video. I really do, so I could watch it again. It was really, really a gem. And that's one of the things that people don't realize with the disease is there are gems in there. You just have to know how to look for them and how to accept them. But I think, probably how long ago has it been since you went through this?
About 12 years ago now.
About 12 years, yeah. There's so much more education and information out about dementia and Alzheimer's that I think it's been really helpful to families to understand how to talk to somebody with dementia, how to deal with somebody with dementia. When somebody with dementia has what they call dementia behaviors, which my mother-in-law did. She went from being the sweet little old lady to cursing like a sailor sometimes. It happens, and learning that it's not anything about you. And sometimes they'll lash out at the caregiver, the person that they love, because they know that you love them unconditionally. And I think, that happened a lot with my mother-in-law. She would lash out at me and my husband because she knew that we loved her unconditionally and we wouldn't stop loving her. And she could count on us, so to speak.
Oh, so, that's lovely.
Yeah.
Well, tell us when your show is so people can find you.
Yes, the Life After 50 show airs every Monday at 11 a.m. Central Standard Time on the Facebook page, Find Houston Senior Care. It also, all of the replays are on my website.
Oh, good.
Under the tab Life After 50. So you can find them there. It's also now on podcasts. So I've turned the video into a podcast. It's on Buzzsprout, Stitcher, iTunes, Google Play, Spotify. I think it's on all of them, you know.
Perfect.
So it's out there wherever you want to be. We also bring in life coaches to talk to people. I had a life coach, Annette Piper, about a month or two ago that was amazing. She talked about transformation in our older years and how people go through changes, and maybe they're creating a new business, maybe they're starting up a podcast or a video show or something like that. And she helps people that are seniors who are trying to start up something new. So she works with small business owners and entrepreneurs and, you know, that sort of thing. So, and doing it while maybe caring for an aging parent. A lot of times, you know, people's businesses are born out of the challenges that we have in life, right?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's definitely the story with me. And in fact, I started another business called Marketing Your Care. And I just want to touch on that just a little bit. Marketing Your Care, I started because what I found was there were a lot of really good heart-centered professionals out there who had businesses, but they didn't know how to market them online. And so Marketing Your Care helps teach those heart-centered professionals how to market their business online so that they can reach more people. So a lot of these home care companies and small assisted living homes, like I was talking about earlier, they're mom and pops. They don't have a big advertising budget, but they've got to get the word out about their business, and they do such good work. And I don't want them to be hidden. So I started Marketing Your Care to kind of help them find their voice and find a way to show their information.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
There's a need.
Yep.
Very big need.
Absolutely. And it's going to continue to grow.
Unfortunately.
I forget what the statistics are with us baby boomers, but there's a whole bunch of us.
That's right. And we're coming up on it fast.
That's right. That's right. But you know what is interesting? The millennials are outnumbering us. You know,
we're dying off.
Group. They're a bigger group. Period.
Oh.
Yeah, they're a bigger group.
Okay.
So it's going to be interesting.
Well,
we probably won't be around.
Oh my gosh. Well, is there anything else that you want our viewers to and listeners to know about what you do?
You know, just, you know, get the information you need. If you're over 50 and life is changing for you, and it does, and that's exciting and fun and sometimes scary, especially if you're dealing with aging parents or a spouse or health issues or any of that. Get information. We're in the information age now, and there's so much great information out there. But always, I tell people, don't just listen to what I say. Don't just listen, that's okay. Don't just listen to what somebody else says. Listen to your heart. Listen to yourself, you know, because you really have the answers inside. So, you know, do your research, gather the information, and then sit with it and decide what's the best choice for you and what decision you need to make.
Right. That's
big.
It.
Yeah.
Because we can't do it all.
No, absolutely. And it's a courageous thing to ask for help.
Yes.
So be courageous.
Right. Buck up, as my mama used to say.
Yeah, I did a meme one time that said, you know, whoever told you had to do it all yourself? I mean, seriously, who told you that, you know? No,
probably nobody.
We don't have to do it all ourselves. I mean, from the time we were born, we have always relied on other people.
Of course.
And we love to help other people. it's interesting too. The people who are in this profession are probably the hardest ones to ask for help. The heart-centered professionals. We want to give, but we have to learn how to receive too.
Exactly. And to receive, usually we need to ask.
Absolutely, you do. Because people can't read your mind as much as you think they can. They really cannot.
Not going to happen.
Not going to happen.
Oh,
Not going to
my
happen.
gosh.
So.
Wow. Well, this is such good information, Kathryn. Thank you for being
Thank
here.
you. Thank you. And our tech issues resolved and everything worked out great, didn't it?
It did. It did. Thank you, God. Wow. Well, folks out there, check into what Kathryn has to offer. Her website, her Monday morning Facebook show at 11 on Central Time, and find the archives. She's got so many of these shows already made, and they're on her website. Tell us your website again.
It's FIND, HoustonSeniorCare.com. And the Life After 50 show has a tab up at the top that says Life After 50. Just click on that and it'll show you all the shows.
Perfect. Oh, I love it. Mm-hmm. This is such a needed item. I mean, it's just, and it's going to become bigger and bigger as the baby boomers age.
I think
so. We have to find the resources. They're not going to plop into our lap. Mm-hmm. And Google is our best friend. And our second best friend, of course, is going to be Kathryn Watson. Because she's got the answers, and you can find them on her website or on her Facebook Live show. And the show is live just for that time at 11 o'clock, but then it's put up again later in the day, right?
It stays on. It's immediately on my website right after the live show finishes. It stays on Facebook. It goes to YouTube. It stays live both places. It never goes away. And then it's also immediately, I would say within a couple of hours, it's ported over to my website. And then it's a few days before it goes into a podcast.
Right. Wow. So there's resources, just bukus of resources for you, because I know there's lots of you out there who are in this position, either with your spouse or with your parents, if you're a younger boomer, because a lot of us still have parents. Yes. And you're very fortunate in that aspect too. I miss mine every day, and I know they're in a better place, so I don't regret that they're gone, but I still miss them.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
Thank you again, Kathryn. This has been wonderful information, and I'm going to ask all the seniors watching, please share this information. There's a share button below the YouTube videos, and I'm sure it's on the podcast too, where you can share this with your friends. And then do subscribe to our channel. It's right down there underneath the video on the YouTube. Just hit the subscribe button, and we'd love to have you as one of our people. So thank you again, Kathryn. I adore you, and I thank you for your good work on all of our behalf.
Thanks, Louise. Have a good day.
You too. So we're going to go out now listening to the music, and then we'll see you on down the road.